Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Rational thinking. Observation of the tendencies and conditions of reality. Things are as they are, without magic, without irrational suppositions, without the grand derision of terms like faith, which require no facts, no justification, no fallibility. Throw that out. How and where does the mind exist? Where does it begin? How does it work? And in absolute interdependence and relationship with the world we experience. You can have all the faith in the world that the mud pie that you make will nourish you and keep you growing old. Your success rate is going to be really, really low. But no matter, I have faith. I just heard Richard Dawkins talking about that word, which I abhor. If you want to practice Buddhism, really practice Buddhism, be a Buddhist, then you must, you cannot avoid proof, reality, consciousness of facts, proofs, evidence, right? All of those are modes of thinking, realizing the actual process of things, life, the universe. If you can't concede that when you punch a wall, depending on the material of the wall, there is potential for injury, there is potential for damage either to yourself or the wall or both, right? Setting aside the provisions of preparedness with chi and so forth, you still are grasping reality no matter how much you can modify, mollify, or adapt. It's still real. You cannot breathe without special apparatus underwater. You can have faith that you can. Good luck with that. A Buddhist abhors non-reasonable, non-rational thinking. Buddhism is built upon it. The liberation you have in Buddhism is based on eschewing these unreasonable, fantastical illusions that we constantly propagandized into our existence, right? When humans first started to walk upright and live in caves, They may have actually been afraid every night that the sun would not return. But certainly by now, we've observed enough sunrises and sunset to understand that this is a natural process, whether you're a scientist or not, and we have a great deal of confidence that when it disappears, it will rise again in a certain area of the sky in a certain amount of time. It would be unreasonable, irrational, to create a whole system of rituals and beliefs around praying for the sun, please come back. If you can tolerate that kind of thinking and inculcate it into your life, what can I say to you? You're gone. Your mind is broken, right? As a Buddhist, we can look upon that kind of thinking, and the only thing left for us is compassion. Oh my word! How do I get you out of that? How can I rescue you from that deeply held illusion and foolishness, stupidity? How do I combat that to help raise your life out of that mire? Because the magnificence of all you have to do is investigate a little bit, and life is so much more amazing than any invention that you can come up with. Any god or whatever. Just look at what truly is, and you'll never stop being amazed. Let go of the stuff that's creating all of this tension in you all the time, because it's not real. It's based on fantasy. Fear, great motivator, right? So why do I say all this? Because as we continue in the Vairocana world, in this sutra of the Tripitaka, this very question is what's being asked of Shakyamuni Buddha. But Shakyamuni Buddha is using an imaginary Buddha other than himself to stand in for unlocking this irrational behavior and giving it a rational appearance. It's an interesting device, right? Sometimes when you tell people something, and this happens today, right? And you're very logical, and you're talking to somebody who's not quite rational, the directness of your communication is almost a wall for them to understand what you're talking about. It's sad, but this is human behavior. But Shakyamuni recognizes this. So what he does is he says, look, don't take my word for it because I'm in your face. Let me tell you about this other Buddha, and let me tell you what he says. Oh, okay, because now I can accept, right? This ignorant person says, now I can accept what you say because I'm not facing off with this other Buddha. You're just telling me what he says. So, okay, I'm willing to listen. It's pretty screwed up. But in a way, it's a manifestation of that magical thinking. Okay, you're confronted by me telling you the truth. It's like I'll go back to the emperor's naked, the emperor's new clothes story, right? If you can't accept that I have the eyes and mind to tell you the emperor's naked, and you're going to get all in my face because I said it, and I'm right here calling you out. Okay, don't get mad. I heard from a very powerful authority that the emperor is naked. Really? You heard that? Do you see? It's very helpful when you're researching, especially older sutras and Buddhist texts, to always keep in mind expedient means or skillful means. The storytelling method that incurs attention from the listener to more deeply involve them in their own self-analysis, even though they may not understand that it's a self-analysis. The mind is so easily led astray by attachments, by baubles. Squirrel, right? We laugh about dogs doing that and losing their attention. We humans do it all the time. And we live in the age of distractions. Phone's ringing. We live in the age of messaging and blathering that's just repetition. As Adam Neely, a very wonderful, smart young man who talks about music theory all the time, one of my favorite things that he's a catchphrase of his, repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. Which has very scary implications. It is the way we learn things, right? This is the way Shakyamuni taught, verbally. Repeat after me. Learn this sermon. Learn it how? Memorize it. Repeat it. You notice how all the sermons are in the first person. There's a reason for that. You're constantly reminding yourself of how your mind works, how this practice works. Namu, I am Myoho Renge Kyo. I am Buddhahood. It's all in the first person. Because our minds are so easily set adrift, we must constantly remind ourselves, oh yeah, I'm not irrational. Oh yeah, truth matters. Right? Constantly, especially today in this latter age, when every millisecond is an opportunity for more disinformation, more marketing, more absconding with your agency. That's what's at stake. You want to be a Buddhist? You want to be enlightened? You want to change, attend, engage your Buddha nature? Well, you're going to have to focus your mind. This is what we mean when we say single-mindedly, to be focused on what is real, living our lives based on what is real, reason. Yeah. The time we live in right now absolutely requires the most direct, simple, immediate invocation of our highest potential. Our highest potential being a mind constantly observant of the true state of things, of life. It's not easy. Because in the very next nanosecond, something will propose something magical, something other, something satiating our deep desires to possess. Welcome, my friends. What an opening, yeah? I'm so respectful of the fact that you're here, that you're listening, that you're studying, that you're practicing. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. I just want you to understand how amazing, how special, how incredible you are. That you've taken responsibility. You've taken the helm of your own life. Wow. That's so huge. Pride is too small a word, and it's too self-referential. What you're doing is awe-inspiring. And so I say to you, let it be awe-inspiring. Let's see what this next question is going to be we've been leading up to here. World-honored one, just as, for example, the element of fire insatiably burns all fuel, okay, the nature of fire, so too does the knowledge of an omniscient one insatiably burn all the fuel of ignorance. So, this omniscient one, let me disabuse you of the distractions here. Because for many people in the world today, when you say omniscient one, they think of this amorphous, cloudy substance, magical deity somewhere in the universe, outside the universe. Where is this omniscient one? That's not what we're talking about here. Not at all what we're talking about here. So don't let that doubt, that rhetoric, those words cloud your understanding of the question here. An omniscient one is one who single-mindedly lives, operates by, with that single-minded knowledge of what life is in each and every moment. Not a 4,000-foot diameter brain, not a cloudy God. An omniscient one is you and I with our mind focused. That's omniscience. Not bigger than any other sentient mind, simply focused. That's what makes the mind omniscient, is that when the mind is focused on actual, reasonable, rational truth, it cannot be swayed and clouded by propaganda, by flawed, fanciful, magical desires. You still have desires, you're still human, but you see them, you experience them through the actual knowing of how and what their manifestations, implications are. And rather than being completely slavishly overwhelmed by the desires, we then see them as the process of life that propels us through time-space. Wow. And we can giggle at them. They're entertaining. They're fun. Rather than being our oppressors because we're so afraid of losing whatever it is we think we're going to gain. It's such a game of foolishness. And once you see clearly that that game can be entertaining without being all-consuming, you become more in control and enjoying this process of life. That's what makes you omniscient. That is Buddhaness. It's really that simple. Ha ha ha, he says with a laugh. So this is what the questioner, the interrogator, is trying to figure out. Doesn't quite understand. Where does this omniscient one, how does it appear? What does it look like? How can I get some? Ignorant question, right? It's already there. You simply have to choose. World-honored one, just as, for example, the element of wind removes all dust, so too does the knowledge of an omniscient one clear the way of all dust and mental afflictions. You see, even though this person is being modeled as the interrogator who is ignorant, he's spelling out the answer. Right? An omniscient one, a focused mind, a mind of Buddha, like the wind, removes all dust, so too does the knowledge of an omniscient one clear away all the dust of mental afflictions. What are mental afflictions? The illusions, the grasping and possession of things that they're just, along with everything else, just manifesting moment to moment. Relax. You don't have to keep it away from the rest of the universe. It's not yours. It's yours to experience. So experience it. Collecting it is what's causing you so much stress. You know the song, "If you love someone, let them go"? With consciously or unconsciously, that's kind of what that song is saying. If you truly appreciate your relationship, you don't need to put it in a box and chain it to the floor and make sure it doesn't breathe or go anywhere for fear of losing it. You're killing it. Let it be the beautiful expression of love that it can be in ways that you don't even understand yet. Let it grow, let it blossom. Wow, love is so much more suddenly. Because I don't have to worry about losing it. Just experience that love right now. Wow, that's liberated. That's free of conditions. Same thing about all of life. Right? It's in the song. As I say that, I'm fully aware that these teachings were taught like songs, yeah? It's where the word chanting comes from, singing. World-honored one, just as, for example, the element of water is a delight for the support, i.e. of bodies, of all beings, so too is the knowledge of an omniscient one a benefit and joy for gods and worldlings. I don't know what the original texts may have said, but I'm quite sure this English translation is just some weird way to conceptualize it. World-honored one, what is the cause? Now we're getting to the question. What is the root? And what is the culmination of this knowledge? How many times have you heard the question? I've been asked the question, what is Buddha? What does it look like? Right? In the last, the video prior to this one, I put the question, what is Tathagata? And I talked about it. But that may not satisfy every question, right? So here it is. What is it? What is this omniscient one? What does it look like, taste like? Where does it come from? Again, the mystic nature of human beings asking borderline question on why don't you focus on your own omniscience? Why do you have to know if Walmart has it on aisle 49? What difference does it make? If you have it and you can attain it, why aren't you preoccupied with that instead of worrying about all this other earthly possessing problems you're setting up? It's right here. When Vajradhara, or Vajradhara, Lord of Mysteries, which I question that word, and finished speaking thus, the Buddha Vairochana addressed him, saying, now this is Shakyamuni saying, this other Buddha, okay, maybe you'll listen to him because you're not listening to me. So Vairochana, he says this, excellent Vajradhara. I'm going to learn how to say that word properly at some point. It is excellent, Vajrapani, that you have asked me about this matter. Your curiosity is well founded. You should listen attentively and pay very careful attention, again, attention, as I now explain it. This is going to be good, right? Vajrapani said, so be it. World-honored one, I am eager to listen. Now I'll drop you another insight, another clue. Do you see the format here? We've seen this many, many, many times in sutras. Whenever the Buddha, whatever, a personage of Buddha is about to answer a question, the format of the student is always a form of this. So be it, world-honored one, I am eager to listen. Establishing my attention, right? Attentively. Dedication. Presence. Sock it to me. This is the formula. Is it any wonder why we say Namu? Myoho Renge Kyo? It's the same invocation. The Buddha said, notice it doesn't say Vairochana, Shakyamuni, or any, it just says the Buddha said. In other words, from this knowing, what we learn, what we understand in our minds, quote, the Bodhi mind is its cause. Pause. Compassion is its root. And expedient means is its culmination. What a brilliant statement. So where does the focused, single-minded, clear, omniscient mind come from? It comes from itself, Buddha. It comes from this innate ability that the mind has. Though we spend most of our time trying to obfuscate it with all of these desires and worries and fears, if we just calm the hell down and look clearly upon our life experience, oh, compassion is its root. Because that omniscient mind that knows is fully aware, awakening, that everything in the universe, every atom, every energetic particle, whatever you want to call it, is in the same situation of truth, doing what it does. And we experience the lives around us as desperately confused about this. So the first thing we want is companionship in this experience. It's so amazing, so mind-blowing, so clear and nurturing and real, to the point where anyone who's missing it to varying degrees, not experiencing. We witness their suffering, their self-imposed torture from something that should be lifting their spirits to their ultimate. It just brings tears to your eyes. Why must you be that way? Let me guide you to clarity. What is that? That is the expedient means as its culmination. How do I express the omniscience, the omniscient capacity that all sentient beings innately have? How can you be missing this? It's like you're going down a highway with the beautiful sunrise and blue skies ahead of you, feeling your heart lift and the breath of life surging through you. Here we go. And all the cars around you are wandering around, hitting each other, jumping off the side of the highway, going through cornfields into forests. And you're like, what are you guys doing? How do I rescue you from yourself, your desires, your irrational behavior? I have to. I don't want to get to this blue sky alone. We're interdependent. Life is life. Experience life. Come on, come on. Well, I may be able to get your attention with that, with my compassion, but how am I going to convince you? How am I going to give you information that's going to help you rescue yourself? Because ultimately, all the words I can manifest and throw out at you are just going into your mire of disorganized thinking. It is you that I have to convince has to pursue this way of omniscience. You have to want to do it. How can I encourage you? I'll give you examples. I'll make stories so that you can understand how the mind wanders and how maybe you've misled yourself. And maybe after inculcating enough of that kind of thinking, you'll start gravitating toward your own omniscience. Expedient means. This is the entire life of Shakyamuni, isn't it? Right here in just a few sentences. And the reason I'm pointing this out, obviously, is not only to restate what I've said so many times in different ways, just as Shakyamuni did throughout 50 years of teaching or so. I want you to get the illustration here that Shakyamuni never wavered. He was always teaching the same thing. It was the nature of his audience that was evolving and changing. And so he taught the same thing, but with a different personages, different characters, different situations. But they're all leading to the same thing. And here it is in this old, early Mahayana Sutra. Might argue it's not even Mahayana, but I believe it is. From the Tripitaka, basically saying everything we... But see, we know this because we practice Lotus Sutra Buddhism. At the time this was taught, the idea of self-enlightenment was completely people couldn't incorporate that. It would be just another belief rather than something they believed they could actually accomplish. You see what I'm saying? His audience wasn't that capable yet, as you and I are. We see it immediately. But that's because of the time, the age that we're in, and our study of the Lotus Sutra. But this is why I am a proponent of study outside the Lotus Sutra, just like Shakyamuni told us to. Study the entire corpus, because the point will keep making itself. And who knows, it may be an ancient story that ticks off one of those karmic check boxes in your mind that launches you forward into your Lotus Sutra practice. We don't, our karmic makeup is so vast, each and every one of us. We can't possibly, we certainly don't express all of it. I've discussed this before, 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. We're only experiencing a certain subset, right? And we're not clued in until we're enlightened, we're omniscient, as to what the potential tendencies and conditions are that push, that travel moment to moment, instantiating themselves as our experience of life. Okay. Lord of Mysteries, what is Bodhi? This is still the Buddha talking now, because he just dropped the bomb. The Bodhi mind is its cause. So what is Bodhi? It means to know one's mind as it really is. Drop the mic. I'm not going to repeat myself. You know, this is what I've been saying over and over and over again. It means to know one's mind as it really is. Lord of Mysteries, this is Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, unsurpassed, perfect, and full awakening. That is the omniscient mind. Completely aware of each moment's manifestation, without clouds of desires and fears and anxieties and other things trying to take control of it. What has been called the monkey mind, right? That grove of trees full of monkeys all screaming at you for their attention. Look here, watch me. My phone ringing. A notification on the computer. Change the channel. Dogs barking. Squirrel. I mean, however you want to visualize it. The undistracted mind is an insanely powerful thing. This is why we have a mandala. This is why we chant to it. To focus all of our earth samsaric senses, right? Eyes, ears, body, mouth, blah, blah, blah. Focus it single-mindedly. And meet the Buddha. Meet your omniscience, right? And there is not the slightest part of it that can be apprehended, because it's an experience. You can't hang on to it. You can't possess it. You only can experience it. That's what that means. Why? Because Bodhi has the characteristic of empty space, and there is no one to comprehend it, nor is there any understanding of it. Because it's experience. It's not something you can put in a mason jar and open it tomorrow to get some back. It's something you actively have to be doing. Action. Remember, energy plus action, karma. Why? Because Bodhi has no differentiating characteristics. When you're omniscient, everything is going through the same process. There's no favoritism. There's no salesmanship. There's no, again, accruing, having. There's only experiencing it. And experience is experience. It's not quantifiable. Lord of Mysteries, all dharmas are without characteristics. All experience is experience. It doesn't have qualities. Those are things we put on them, on our experiences, to shape them, to own them, to possess them. By being focused, we automatically eliminate that. in Buddhist terms, liberate ourselves from that. That is to say, they have the characteristic of empty space. There's no bottling, hanging on to, losing. It's an immediate, contemporaneous experience. Buddhaness. Then Vajrapani again said to the Buddha, quote, "World-honored one, who is it that seeks omniscience?" Oh, man. He's really stubborn. Who is it that accomplishes perfect awakening on account of Bodhi? He's missing the point, right? Who is it that generates the knowledge of an omniscient one? Where does this omniscience come from? Again, trying to put it into samsaric parameters does you no good. The Buddha said, "Lord of mysteries, it is one's own mind that one seeks Bodhi and omniscience." Duh. Right? Why? Because its original nature is pure. Because this mind arises from this very state of omniscience. It's just part of the whole process. You're just becoming aware of it, sentient. This is the reason for you to be. Your only reason is to witness your being. Everything else is stuff you're piling onto it to make it, what, more tangible? More accruing? Again, that obsession with having. Just be in it. That is having it. Moment to moment. The mind is neither within nor without, nor can the mind be apprehended between the two. Lord of mysteries, the Tathagata, there we are again, worthy of focus, appreciation, resolve, and perfectly and fully awakened, is neither blue nor yellow, nor red nor white, nor crimson, nor color of crystal, neither long or short, nor round or square, neither bright nor dark, neither male or female, nor neuter. Lord of mysteries, the mind is not the same nature as the realm of desire. Isn't that what I've been saying? The mind is not of the same nature as the realm of desire. Nor is it of the same nature as the realm of form. Nor is it of the same nature as the realm of non-form. Nor is it the same as the nature as the destinies of gods, nagas, yakshas, all these words, humans, non-humans, Lord of mysteries. The mind does not reside in the realm of the eyes, nor does it reside in the realm of the ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind, and neither is it visible, nor does it manifest itself. It's just there, and all you need to do is experience it. Clarity. Can you put truth in a bottle? Can you say truth has a color? Right? These are obvious questions. And what Shakyamuni is trying to teach here is that you're looking for something. Stop thinking about something and start thinking about experiencing the full brunt of life in each moment of your life. Become completely aware of this process. All of this other stuff, you keep wanting to stick onto it, define it with, put underneath it, is your desperate attempt at owning it. You can't own it, you are it. And it is everything. Everything manifests from this energy of formation. Not form, you're trying to give it form, but just see it as the energy that produces, that you're witnessing. There's a good way to think about it. I'm in the energy that produces all of this. In a very real way, you're experiencing the entirety of the universe, the engine of life itself, albeit through a local, as I often say, perspective. But that perspective isn't limited to location. It's the entirety of the universe. It's an amazing thing to try to conceptualize in your mind, especially without putting characteristics to it. That's what this whole discussion is about. Where are we time-wise? Why? Buddha continues. Because the mind, which has the characteristics of empty space, which is to say no characteristics other than experience, is free from all differentiation and non-differentiation. Right? It's not picking and choosing what is and isn't. It's just witnessing the process, producing. Why is that? That whose nature is the same as empty space is identical to the mind. And that whose nature is the same as the mind is identical to Bodhi. In other words, the who that you're trying to define is irrelevant. It's the experience that is everything, that produces what you want to put characteristics to. It transcends that personification, that me self. That whose nature is the same as empty space. The self is empty space. The self is a concept of attachment. It's not a real thing. It's an invented thing. Whose nature is the same as the mind is identical to Bodhi. It's an emergent property. In this manner, Lord of Mysteries, the three entities of mind, the realm of empty space, and Bodhi are without duality. In other words, these are all ways of describing that same thing, experience. They have compassion as their root and are fulfilled by the paramita of expedient means. For this reason, Lord of Mysteries, I teach the dharmas in this manner so as to make the multitudes of bodhisattvas purify the Bodhi mind and know their mind. He's restating exactly what he's already said. Through the compassion of my omniscient mind, I want to inculcate those around me to do the same. Lord of Mysteries, if a man of good family or a woman of good family wishes to know Bodhi, they should know their own mind in this manner. Lord of Mysteries, how is one to know one's own mind? It cannot, namely, be apprehended by seeking it in distinctions or colors or shapes or external objects, or in form or in sensation, ideation, volition, or consciousness, or in I, or mine, or in the grasper, i.e. subject, or the grasped, i.e. object, or in the pure, or in the 18 elements of existence, or the 12 sense fields, or in any other distinctions. All your efforts to samsarize this are futile, because omniscience, Buddhaness, isn't the manifestations. It is the engine of the manifestations. From this perspective, one can liberate oneself from the manifestations while at the same time experiencing the process of it all. Right? What did I say earlier? The production. Lord of Mysteries, this gateway to the Bodhisattva's pure Bodhi mind is called the path whereby the Dharma becomes clear for the first time. And you and I can simply do it by chanting Namo Myoho Renge Kyo to this mandala you see behind me, to pierce through all of the gates of earthly awareness, right? Vision, sound, articulation, vibration, all of it, all our senses, and use them to pierce directly through our gohonzon, our method of transcending all of this wonderful stuff, to achieve a clear experience of the engine of life. If a bodhisattva trains while dwelling therein, right, in this body with our minds, dwelling in samsara, and we train, chant, he will then, without prolonged hardship, attain the samadhi that removes all obscurations, attachments. If he attains this samadhi, then he will dwell on a par with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. He will generate the 5 supernatural faculties, open the dharani, the retention of immeasurable languages, words and sounds, know the workings of the minds of beings, be protected by Buddhas, remain undefiled even in birth and death, samsara, the moment to moment, birth, death, not shrink, fatigue, or shirk fatigue for the sake of beings throughout the Dharma realm, succeed in abiding in the unconditioned precepts, be free from wrong views, and thoroughly understand right views. In other words, to see things as they are. Furthermore, Lord of Mysteries, a bodhisattva dwelling in this samadhi that removes all obscurations will, through the power of his conviction and understanding, and without prolonged exertion, satisfy all the dharmas, attributes of a Buddha. Lord of Mysteries, in short, this man of good family or woman of good family will fully achieve the accomplishment of immeasurable merits. And then the Lord of Mysteries again questioned the Buddha in verse. Okay. Now, I'm going to pose you an interesting question. I think it's interesting. Having just read that from this Tripitaka Early Mahayana Sutra, which later on inculcates the theft of Tendai thinking, is based on words of Shakyamuni Buddha, has basically expressed exactly what we've been learning from Nichiren and Shakyamuni in the Lotus Sutra. Yeah. So for Subhakarashima and his acolytes to claim that this sutra of Vairochana is on a par with the Lotus Sutra, but that this one's more easy to understand. The Lotus is for elitists and, big brains. You could almost see the logic in that claim, couldn't you? But the stark difference is that this is still Buddha teaching to other people's capacities, getting them to start to understand that it's the nature of their commitment to their minds that will lead them to this Bodhi. Whereas the Lotus Sutra is the method for invoking that Bodhi now. No more questions about what it is. No more questions about suiting your ability to understand. No, Lotus Sutra, you're ready. Do this. Do it like this. This is the nature of how you live your life. The Lotus Sutra is partly about how to fully realize your bodhisattva nature. In other words, how to conduct your life as a samsaric being, while at the same time invoking Bodhi, omniscient, Buddhaness, which will, as you train your mind daily, practicing, will guide your bodhisattva coursing through the world. That's the Lotus Sutra. It's a very different perspective on what he's been teaching all along, but it is fundamentally different. Enlightenment in the Vairochana Sutra is still a goal to be achieved. Time, an understanding, a mental training to understand the nature of what it is that you're going for. Whereas the Lotus Sutra is, be it. Do it now. Just do it. Stop with the questions. They're irrelevant. Do what is already your nature to do. Big difference. Let alone as we get into this in the latter added chapters of Subhakarishima and Yixing, to collect from Hinayana and earlier sutras and maybe inventing their own, these mudras and mantras, to add the component of mysticism that everybody just loves. Let's just add that, push that into here, and which confounds the whole thing. Anyway, I think it's fascinating as we read this earlier sutra, much earlier, that the essential knowledge that we have gained from studying Lotus Sutra and Nichiren and Tendai, it hasn't changed. It's nothing new. It's just our perspective and our ability is very different from 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Yeah, people evolve. The mind evolves. And here we are, you and I, talking about this. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Keep your practice strong. Be kind to yourself. Words fail me. Thank you again. Thank you deeply to my patrons. Don't forget to like, subscribe, right? It's a little bit of bodhisattva work. Helps all of us. And I will see you in the next as we continue the Vairochana Sutra, right? Bye for now.